If you are a business that can serve other local businesses, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to break down a simple tweak that you can make to your outbound campaigns that can give you an unfair advantage over the competition. This simple tweak has allowed us to get 10+% reply rates for multiple clients across multiple industries. Let's get into it. The main reason why cold outbound attempts fail is because there's a lack of trust from the market. And that is why nobody responds. And that's why your reply rates are so low. If you're getting a whole lot of people saying, hey, Hawani, thank you so much for reaching out. I really appreciate it, but we're not interested right now, then you're still gonna have a decent reply rate. But typically you have a low reply rate and no one gets back to you, and that's because of a lack of trust. They don't know who you are, they don't trust you, they associate you with something scammy or fake, or you're lying, or you're a waste of their time, essentially. The fact that they don't know you is why it is called cold outreach. They don't know who you are. However, there is a simple way to overcome this, and that's by using a local angle. What a local angle means is that you are saying, hey, I'm also in this local area. You're just tying it to proximity. Why this works? This is where you scrape companies from near your business and tell them where you're located in the email. So we're just off Richmond Ave in the old fire truck building. This is an ideal way to do it, where you're using jargon that only people in the area would know. Hey Hawani, we're just off Richmond Ave in the old fire truck building. I wanted to reach out because da da da. Even if your offer is like not applicable to them, but they know the old fire truck building, they're far more likely to reply. So you can lower these barriers of skepticism and build trust really, really easily. This really works well if you are a business that can serve all types of businesses, and then you can just target the local area. So typically, like a marketing agency, like if you do SEO, you can do SEO for a wide range of businesses, and some of those businesses are in your local area, so it'd be worth targeting them. This short circuit skepticism and increases trust through a few mechanisms. So there's lower perceived risk because people don't often scam their neighbors, right? So there's just a lower risk of working with you than somebody in another state or another country, or you don't even know where they are. You can meet up in person, which is very desirable, especially for older business owners. They quite like meeting up in person, and there's more accountability. Again, because you don't often, if you do something bad for somebody who's just around the corner, word of mouth spreads. So if you're reaching out to someone and they know that you're just around the corner, it's less likely that they're going to be scammed. It's also easier to capture attention. When you use their suburb or a nearby landmark, this activates the brain like, this might be relevant to me filter, because that automatically has a hook. You can leverage that as well as your offer and tie them together there, and then you can capture attention more easily. And reciprocity. Lead magnets tend to work better with a local angle because you can make them specific to the local area. This plus the lower perceived risk means that the law of reciprocity is stronger. Essentially, if you are reaching out to people in the local area and say you can do something for free, they're more likely to feel like, you rub my back, I can rub yours. All of these things make it a really easy way to improve your outbound campaigns. Just a little bit of history. We were a restaurant marketing agency and we did Facebook ads, but then we started to get into cold email. We helped restaurants get more weekday corporate events. And what we'd do is we'd reach out to businesses in the local area and say, hey, we are Hawani's Burger Barn down the road. We have this awesome beer garden out back. It's really good for corporate events. Do you guys want to hire it at some point in the future? We'll give you free use of the space. You just need to chuck a few dollars on the bar tab, whatever it is. And that worked really well. Like, we would average maybe like a 7 to 15% reply rate on average across clients. And we ran this for maybe 200 or 300 different restaurants across the US. We used to run the local angle for restaurants. It was all local. It worked very well, 7 to 20% reply rates. But this was 2+ years ago, so you have to take this all with a grain of salt. We would use landmark streets and suburbs in the email. You ideally say like, hey, we're on this street just across the road from the massive Kia superstore, all right? Or you would say like, hey, we're just, across the road from Big Ben. Like, you'd want to use a more local landmark than Big Ben. But the point being that you want to use jargon that only somebody in the local area would know, so it can't be faked. And another thing here is like, if you are a well-known venue, they're going to know the venue anyway. So there is already a high level of trust, but you want to use landmark streets and suburbs in the email. This is an example of it working well today. This is a marketing agency in Minnesota. Hey, we're just based out of the International Market Square, so not too far from you. We don't even drop the suburb in here because everyone in this area knows what the International Market Square is. I was checking out company name and had some ideas around your website I'd love to share. Would love to meet up. I would typically not ever recommend using this copy However, this is working really well because we've got this local angled line in here. That local angled line essentially means you don't have to have as much offer market fit because you're already overcoming some of it with the line. And then we follow up with a video, and in the video we say, like, we're just in the International Market Square, so I know that we're not too far from you guys. Like, I had to check out your website and I had a few thoughts. They've also got the same accent. All these things kind of line up where it really lowers the skepticism and it makes the outbound feel a lot warmer. And then these are the reply rates that we're getting, just so that you can see something. That hasn't said much, so don't even bother about that. So around 3.5% with decent positive response rates. Just so you know, I don't trust these positive response rates. We've definitely had more positive response rates than that. I think it's closer to 20%, maybe positive response rates there. And they've closed clients, which is the most important thing. How to scrape local leads. There's two ways, and we typically do both and then add them together. There is a Google Maps scraper. So when you're doing a Google Maps scraper, typically what you're doing is you're doing a search term and a location, and you're either doing a search term which says like tire companies Austin, Texas, or you're doing tire companies in Austin, Texas. What we recommend is you would do it just in the search term. You go tire companies Austin, Texas, dentists Austin, Texas, XYZ Austin, Texas. So you'd go through like 100 different industries with the location that you want to target, and you'd scrape them all, and then you'd make one big list. That's obviously a bit of a pain. We've just built an automation that does it, but to begin with, I recommend you just go through it manually and just pull them all and then make it into a big list. Then you'd use a clay table to enrich the data to find the first names and emails and all this stuff, and there should be a link to a video on screen now where I've got a template for that clay table that you can use. And then this is because most businesses in a local area don't use LinkedIn. Like I said, the local tire shop, like, they may have 12 employees and be making good money, but none of them are going to be on LinkedIn. That's why Google Maps Scraper is good for this sort of thing. The alternative is way easier, and that's where you use something like A-Leads, Apollo, or essentially LinkedIn-based data, and you can filter the company by location and pull in all decision makers in that list. So you want to filter, typically you want to filter the company by location and or the employee in that location, and then you just pull all decision makers or everyone you want to. Significantly less than Google Maps, but it's way easier. We do both. Essentially, we would recommend doing both. Hopefully you got some value out of this video. If you want to talk to somebody in our team to see if there's any other little tweaks that we would recommend to improve your cold outbound campaigns, or if you want to see if you can work with us, then there should be a link below this video. If you want to learn more, there should be a very long video on screen now. There might be 8+ hours. You can watch that, and I'll see you there. Peace.